All right, welcome back, everyone. My name is DM Rhino, and today we're going to be showing you how to make a druid in D&D Beyond. Yeah, it's our last in the how-to series for newer players. If you want to get into D&D, you don't know how or what to do, and you want to play a druid, this is just a guide to help you become a druid, right? So, first of all, what we're going to have a look at, well, first of all, if you like this video, hit like and subscribe and ring the bell. These are always great for supporting the channel, of course. And we're going to have a look at D&D Beyond. If you have a Gmail account, you've got D&D Beyond. It's pretty simple. We're going to go to our create character once more. And we're going to go to our standard. And then we're going to call this guy. Let's make him a Drew. And we're going to make him look like that. That's a druid. Perfect. Nothing homebrew, nothing expanded, nothing like this. Right? We gotta not get enabled content. We can have dice roll in, milestone fixed. That's up to your DM if you want to talk to them about that. Multi-class feats not required. We don't use incumbents. We ignore coin weight, and we're just gonna make him public. Share this later. So that's the basic parts of it. Then we're gonna go all the way down. We're gonna call this guy the druid. Now druids use their wisdom, intelligence, and as a primary modifier. So we're gonna have a look here, and we're gonna add that class, and then we're gonna level him up to 3 because most campaigns begin with 3. We'll look at our core traits, our primal order, and our subclass. So we go to our core traits, and we start to see, well, we want to pick something that is around these here. Remember, wisdom is our key, but druids need to know animals. So we're going to have animal handling as our first little skill. Now, we could go for nature or survival or perception or even arcana, depending on the druid we want to play, but let's pick nature, right? Nature is really cool. There's a slight difference between nature and survival. Survival is you know how to survive in the woods. If you get thrown into the woods, you know how to build a shelter, hunt for food, etc., kind of things like that. Whereas nature is that you have the understanding of the woods, the balance of nature. So that's a brief explanation between them. So for a druid, these two skills would be great. We get our spellcasting, so we can see there, and we get our draconic languages. Just like rogues, druids have their own language. It's draconic, right? And there are consequences if you teach a non-druid draconic. There can be dire consequences for that. But depending on what your DM says. So that's also, you get your little language there. And now we look at our primal order. Now, what are these primal orders? Do you want to be a magician kind of wizard? Druid, I should say a magician kind of wizard, but it's the magician is kind of like the druid that casts more spells. The warden is the kind of one that you gain martial weapons and medium armor. But the magician is what we want to do because we want to give this druid a bit more spells. We want to have him a more of a spellcaster, uh, druid kind of guy. So we get to pick our first spell here. And let's go down and we can see what's our first spell. So what I would recommend, first spell, of course, right? We want a passive spell. So we could either pick guidance or message or even mending, but I think guidance is always a good spell to pick. So we're going to pick guidance. That way we don't have to pick it when we pick our spells. Now we go into our wild shape. Now at level 2, we get wild shape, we get number of uses twice, and we can see we have to look at our beast catalog in our D&D Beyond, in our monster manual. If you haven't got the monster manual, you can just type in Google beasts at beasts in D&D and see what the CR level is. Now, depending what your druid level is and the type of druid, you might get access to more beasts, you might get access to less beasts, you might be able to fly, you might not be able to fly. So it actually gives you a little table here. So at level 2, we know 4 beast forms. The maximum CR is 1/4 and they can't fly, right? At 8, at level 8, 8 forms, got CR1, and they can fly and swim. We also get temporary hit points when we change, and all of these things over here. So these are very, very important to remember. Now we get a wild companion. You can summon a nature spirit as a magic action. It's sort of like a familiar in many ways. You can cast, it actually says you can cast the spell in the way that a familiar as a fae disappears after the long rest. So that's really cool. You can actually make this any sort of wild companion you want. Anything you can think about as a wild animal. Can't really. You do get like a list of find familiar, but they do tell you like the CR level. So you just have to look at that CR level for that. And then we have a look at our subclass. What is our subclass? Well, there are a couple of ones. Now, the one on the basic D&D Beyond will say Circle of the Land, which is really good. I'm not seeing any of these subclasses. We've got land, sea, and stars. However, if you are a new player and you want to get into playing druids and really understanding them and having a good time, the one I will always recommend is Circle of the Moon. Why Circle of the Moon, right? Because when you play a Circle of the Moon, you get circular forms, which means you can get your wild shape granting all the benefits below. The challenge rating for your wild shape equals your druid level rounded down by 3 or divided by 3 rounded down. Your armor class increases plus your wisdom modifier and you get temporary hit points. So at level 3, 3 divided by 3 is 1. We can already pick a CR1 creature with Circle of the Moon, right? And we, even though we can't fly because we're not at that level, but we can pick a CR1 creature, which is really good for our beast, right? And then we get Circle of the Moon spells. We get Cure Wounds, Moonbeam, and Starry Wisp. All really good spells for a druid. The druid can both be a healer and someone who does lots of damage. And Moonbeam is like the go-to for most druids. Moonbeam is a great spell. So I would pick Circle of the Moon, right? Now, we go to our background. Now remember, we want our background to complement our class. This is always important. So something with wisdom, right? Because if we go back to our class, we think, okay, what is it? It's wisdom and intelligence. So let's have a look here. What could be our background? Well, maybe the go-to is a hermit. Let's see what the hermit gives us. If we go here, we get healer. Okay. We get wisdom, charisma, and constitution. I want wisdom and intelligence. So not hermit, maybe a farmer. Again, we get constitution and wisdom. Wow. Okay. So not that one there either. We could say what would be a good, I think, a guide? A guide will have wisdom. I'm just trying to see. Again, wisdom and constitution. Okay. Wow. Where is, if we go to sage, maybe we'll get wisdom and intelligence. Ah, there we go. Wisdom and intelligence. So we become a sage. Okay, that's fine. We want that wisdom and intelligence. And we get a magic initiative, which is good because we get to pick more spells. We're going to make this our wisdom magic initiative. So we get to pick spells based on our wisdom modifier. Let's see. So we get to pick kind of spells. Again, if you get to pick spells before you go to your character sheet, I always try to pick the ones that are passive first because then you get them out of the way and it's good to have those passive spells when you level up. Right? So let's pick let's pick Mage Hand. Very good spell to pick. We know what it does. We can cast a hand that helps us out in various situations. We've already got guidance. Then let's pick, go all the way down. Wow, there's so many of them. If we go down here, let's go with Message. Again, passive spell, but communication, very important in the game. And now we get to pick another spell at a higher level, and we already know Find Familiar, so we don't have to know that. Let's go all the way here. Why don't we pick good old Magic Missile? really good. Right, our magic missile is always an auto hit. It's great spell for most spellcasters. It's like their go-to spell, and it does force damage. So there we go. Would be our spells there. And now we get to see, again, we get to increase 111. For now, we're just going to have 111. We can change it later. Alignment, we're going to be neutral. Most druids are neutral, so that's fine. And we're going to make him, let's go all the way down here. Let's make him modest. There we go. Great. So we've picked everything there. Then we go to species, we click off legacy, and we're going to go to our human. Ah, there we go. So we click on human. We're going to make him medium. Skillful, we get to pick more skills because he's a human. So we've got arcana, we've got history. Let's pick survival this time. Survival or perception. My go-to is always perception because everyone makes perception checks. It's very useful in the game. So maybe we go to perception again. We have versatile, we pick another feat. Let's see. We've got a couple here. We can pick musician, skilled. We don't need skilled. Alert, not really. Crafter, not really for a druid. Healer, no, we pick that for cleric. Lucky, I will go with tough. Tough is always good for level 3 because you want to get more health. So tough is good, and especially for a druid who is a spellcaster. Now we're going to roll for our languages. Again, you can pick them. You don't have to roll for them. It's just fun to roll for them. So we roll 2d12s. And we get a 7 and an 8. So giant and gnomish. Very cool. Okay, yeah, excellent. Now we go to our abilities. Okay, so let's go to, we did standard array. We've done roll. Let's go to points to buy. So that's really fun. Now, points to buy, good way of having a look at it. This also depends on your DM. He will tell you what ability scores to use. I just do it in various ways to show people how to do it in various ways. Now, we know we want our wisdom and intelligence high. They're both +1 already, so that's fine. Same with our constitution because of our background. So we can easily keep them at an odd, but for now, let's make everything 10, right? This way we get no minuses. There we go. So now we can start playing around with it. I want my wisdom to be the highest. That's going to be a 16. Okay. I also want my constitution to be pretty high and my intelligence to be pretty high. So if I make my intelligence 13, which gives me a 14, and my constitution also a 13, which makes 14, I get 2 to play around with. What do I want to play around with? Well, I can't make that any higher. Well, I don't really need charisma. I don't really need strength, but maybe I'll have dexterity. Dexterity is fun. There we go. Excellent there. We can see wisdom is 16, intelligence is 14, constitution is 14, dexterity is, of course, 12, strength and charisma 10. Very cool. All right, now we get to our equipment. Now, druids don't really use metal because they're part of nature, unless you've picked the other, like the warden one. But for most druids, you got to use leather armor. You can use a wooden shield, things like that, and a quarterstaff. So we got to pick A and A. We get 2 quarterstaffs this time. Okay. And when we come down here, we got to wield our leather armor. We can wield our quarterstaff and our shield. There we go. Okay. Then we go to your character sheet. All right, there we have our character sheet. Look at our health is 30, which is good. We've got constitution, intelligence, and wisdom. We've got high on our saves, nothing in the minus. Very good. Arcana, animal handling, nature, and perception, I should say. Very cool. Okay, and we've got our wild shape there. The wild shape 2, wild shape forms. Maximum form is our CR 1 because we're a circle of Harpoon. Very good. And we gain 9 temporary hit points, and until you leave your form, your AC is 16, unless the beast AC is higher. So that's always really good. So our AC increases, right? Okay, very nice. But now, what do we need? We need to pick some spells. So if we go to our spells, we can see already we've got the go-to cantrips, right? Guidance, Mage Hand, Message, and Starry Wisp. Very good. Our first level spells, if we go back, Cure Wounds, Circle of the Moon, Find Familiar, which we can cast as a ritual, Speak to Animals, also ritual, and Missile. Second level, Moonbeam, and, well, that's our only second level. All the others were first. Okay. So even if we look at Find Familiar, they give you a list of things. You can actually see at the top here, rat, cat, frog, hawk, lizard, etc. You know, it's long. You can pick another beast that has a challenge rating. So if you're not happy, just speak to your DM and ask, can we pick another beast of a challenge rating? That's important. All right. But now let's pick some spells, guys. Let's go. What kind of spells? We get to pick 2 new cantrips. I'm going to click over there. Now we can pick another damaging cantrip because we know the passive ones. These are great. What could be a really good spell for a druid? So you could say druid craft. It doesn't really do any damage, but you know, it's a sensory effect. Elementalism, really cool. You can have that for a druid. Okay, that's okay. Doesn't do any damage. So what would we pick? Well, I would pick Thorn Whip. Right? Why Thorn Whip? Well, because it's basically a thorny whip that can damage a creature, and if it is a large or smaller, it can be pulled 10 feet closer. So it's great to like whip something and pull it closer. Okay. And then if you want to get away, of course, we could have if I remember, resistance is touch, so we don't do, yeah, let's do Thunderclap as our next spell also. Right? Why Thunderclap? Because each creature within 5 feet of you must make a Constitution saving throw or take 1d6 thunder damage. Now that's great if you are surrounded, and these are good cantrips to pick. Remember, we've got 3 damaging types, and we've got a buff, a utility, and communication. All really good. Now let's have a look here. We go to our second level. We always use second level first, right, to see what we can get. Let's see there. Let's go over here, second level again. Okay, well, we've got Speak to Animals. We don't need Speak to Animals. What can we get that's a really good spell? Got Moonbeam. Spike Growth. Very good spell to have. Spike Growth is fantastic because it's an area of about 20 feet and the ground becomes spiked. And each creature that moves on the ground takes 2d4 piercing damage for every 5 feet they travel. And the terrain is difficult. You can kind of block your enemy, and if they continue to walk, they're going to take damage. So that's why Spike Growth is a very good spell to get. And, you know, I'm going to say Pass Without a Trace. Why Pass Without a Trace? Because this is a fantastic spell to have in game because it gives you a +10 on all dexterity, and you can choose up to, as long as any creature with that is in 30 feet of you, right, they get a +10 on dexterity stealth check. So for when you have to sneak into a camp or do anything, this is a fantastic spell. Pass Without a Trace, that +10 is very useful in the game. We get to pick one more level 2 spell. Let's see which one we can pick. We've got a concentration one, and got a these 2 are concentration. So I don't want to pick another concentration because it might be a bit, you concentrating on a lot of things. The problem, of course, being is that most level 2s are concentration. So let's pick Oxskin. Oxskin is not concentration, and it is a touch spell, and it's a bonus action. But what it does, it increases your armor class to AC to 17 if your AC is lower than. So that's a really good spell. It's a buff spell. It's bonus action. So you can even touch yourself and you can increase your AC to 17. As a spellcaster, that's fantastic. You want your AC high. So really good there. Okay, now we've picked our level 2s. Let's go for level 1s. So we can actually, let's go back here. Then we can see our level 1s for one spell. Okay, now we've got Cure Wounds, got Magic Missile. Pick 3 great spells to have. We don't need to pick Cure Wounds. Fantastic, we've got that. Ice Knife is always a good go-to for Druid because they can throw a knife or an ice knife at someone, and when it hits, it does damage. It does piercing damage, but it also explodes. And if they make the dexterity, if they don't make the dexterity save, they take 2d6 cold damage. Very cool to have that. Another good spell to pick as a druid is Goodberry. It's always between Goodberry and Healing Word. Healing Word's a bonus action, but as a druid, because we've already got Cure Wounds, I don't think it's necessary to pick Healing Word. We are going to pick Goodberry, right? Good berries are basically like emergency rations that heal you by 1, but you get to make every day you produce 10 of them, right? As a bonus action, you can take a good berry, it restores 1 hit points and provides all the nourishment. So in battle, good berry is very important because even with a party of, let's say, 5, each person can have 2 good berries. And if they go down, you can just feed them a good berry and then they can go up, be up again with 1 hit point. And that can make or break a battle. So that's very important to have good berries. You can cast it once per day. It doesn't, yeah, it's not concentration. It does require mistletoe, but I mean, if you're a druid, mistletoe is pretty much everywhere. And what else are we going to pick? Well, my other pick, we've got a couple of damaging spells here. We've got Magic Missile, Cure Wounds. It's not damaging, but let's pick Thunderwave. Thunderwave is a really fun spell. Again, if creatures get too close, you can push them away with thunder. Thunder damage, the Constitution saving throw, and it's like a cube of force that comes out and pushes you away, right? Which is really important. Yeah, so those are the spells I would pick if I was playing a druid for the first time, and also if I was trying to help a new player play a druid. Very good spells to pick and easy to understand. Nothing too complicated here. Then, now that we've picked our spells, right, we've prepared them. Again, you will see, we go here, we don't have a spell book, or we don't have anything here, but we can, as druids, if I remember, after a long rest, we could change spells. So now we go all the way here in our inventory, everything's picked. And then we see our language. Our primal order is magician. That's why we get a +3 on our intelligence, arcana, and nature checks. There we go. And we've got our wild shape, circle of the moon. We get temporary hit points. Remember, a druid can be both healer and damager. So when we are circle of the moon, we're using our wild shape to help our friends. And we can look at the beast list to help us, you know, become stronger and better for that. And we can see all the other things there. We've got tough, wizard cantrips, of course, and there are our spells. Very, very good, right? We can see them all. So yeah, that's our druid class. It's a very fun class to pick. It's often considered the most damaging class in D&D because especially with our wild shape and you can cast a lot of spells. But druids are fun. You can play every party kind of needs a druid and a cleric at one point, so they're and heal and do damage. But yeah, and remember, if you've liked these videos, please hit the like, hit the subscribe button. I try and make a video every day, but that has been the videos of the how-to series I made just for newer players. I'm going to do some different videos of different classes, maybe for a bit more advanced players. And we are going to look at the Artificer class when it comes out. I might do a video on the 2014 Artificer just to show you how that can be done. But you know, I'm still waiting for the new book to be released to have a look at what the new artificer class is like. But for now, those are the videos. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Cheers, everyone. Bye.